I know, this is an interesting looking one. I was a little on the fence with regards to accepting this when I was first approached to do a video on it as well, because we're so used to flashy, breathtaking graphics in this day and age, and when something that looks less than what we would normally expect comes out, we automatically jump to the conclusion that it must inherently be bad. And yes, when I say I was approached, I am referring to the fact that this is a sponsored look at the game. Return of Warrior just launched into open beta on January 10th, and naturally, when any MMO launches, I feel an innate need to just jump right in and see what it's like. Originally, the game released way back in 2004 under the title Risk Your Life. It was, and still is, a 3D action MMORPG that in all honesty, it actually plays surprisingly well. Yes, Return of Warrior lacks the fast-paced action combat of something like BDO, but I'm gonna be real with you all here, the game's action combat is actually better than the vast majority of MMO combat systems that were actually released in the early 2000s. There are two races in Return of Warrior, generic humans and cat people, also known as the Akan. I wanted to go as generic as I possibly could, so I opted to go for a gelled back, heroic looking blonde knight, not at all reminiscent of Jaime Lannister. On a more serious note, I turned out looking pretty damn awesome. Well, I guess, except for the hair, I mean, you know, honestly, I wouldn't really expect them to have the product to achieve such a marvel in that day and age. Now, within the first few minutes, I realized that there were two different game modes employed in game. Mouse mode, which actually offers players the ability to point and click to move and cycle through monsters using your mouse to fight. Then you have keyboard mode, which offers a faster, non-targeted combat mode, allowing for you to like AoE and mow down enemies without the need to have a target. So the latter mode can admittedly lead to a variety of awkward situations like the one you're experiencing in the background right now. And yeah. The game utilizes a stat system that allows you to input the stats you want to craft your character how you want them. It also uses an older inventory style where gear actually took up more than a single slot per piece, often taking anywhere from 1 space for items, 4 for helmets, gloves, and boots, 6 to 9 for armor, and 6 to 12 for weapons and shields. I'll admit that at times I actually kind of miss this system just a little bit, and then I recall how bad my inventory management is, and yeah. As I mentioned earlier though, the action combat allows for both the grouping and massacring of monsters just like this. I've always loved AoE classes, so knowing that I can run headfirst into a horde of monsters and just wreck them all makes this class an instant like for me. Even if, you know, occasionally I bite off a little more than I can chew. I mean, it's so infrequent of an occurrence that I really shouldn't even be mentioning this. Don't judge me. Anyway, speaking of classes, Return of Warrior actually offers several base classes that each diverge into additional advanced classes as you continue to level through the game. This makes for a hefty sum of customization, honestly. From what I experienced over the course of playing the open beta up until level 20, you can take quests, but questing is not the primary way you should actually go about leveling. The XP gain, it really isn't ideal if you compare the substantial difference between grinding monsters, which often net you anywhere between 200 to 800 XP per kill at my level, and quest completion that rewards roughly the same XP as a single monster kill. Thankfully, grinding really isn't an issue for me. I've done it many a time in older MMOs, and BDO is actually completely focused on the grind, so clearly players are not averse to having to. I was also surprised by the large selection of monsters I came across. Every 30 seconds, I would encounter new models, you know, not the same recolored, renamed monsters in each and every new area, fresh new monsters that are just ready to tear into your ass. And that really did happen often, the tearing into my ass, that is, as the monsters, if more than a few levels ahead of you, are honestly quite formidable. So most encounters actually left me running for my life. Now, I've touched on the combat aspect of the game, and I've noted that you really shouldn't judge the graphics at first glance, because it actually looks pretty good for a game released back in 2004, you know, like the Lineage games. But one thing that I have not really touched on yet is that the game is actually heavily focused around PvP. Return of Warrior has open world PvP, meaning that players are fully capable of engaging one another in unrestricted PvP. That means while out questing, farming, grinding, or whatever it is you want to do, you'll have to keep an eye out for potential competition, as PvP is a crucial and very prevalent part of the game. I sadly never really got to participate in it myself, but I am hoping that I'll be able to explore the game more thoroughly and bring some, I guess, fun PvP related content for every one of you next time. Anyway guys, that is pretty much it for me. Honestly, and I'm being serious here, I had a lot of fun. Return of Warrior isn't, you know, like a flashy, breathtaking MMORPG that was released in like 2019. It's an old school MMO for players that enjoyed their games more difficult. Things were very, very different. Things were significantly more difficult back in the early to mid 2000s, and the popularity of Lineage 2 Classic and WoW Classic, it's proof that old school MMORPGs can do well in this day and age. But that is it for me. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Peace. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, drop a like, leave a comment, consider subscribing to my channel over here, checking out another video, or following both Wiggy and I on Twitter at BiteSticks and BiteWiggy to just chat or hang out.